Hear the legends old and new. Wisdom flow like rivers true. Share your heart, the stories thrive. In this cast we're all alive. Oh.
What is up, everybody? This is Chase, and welcome back to the Wellness Center podcast, where we are destigmatizing mental health one episode at a time. Everyone, I am so grateful that you are tuning in to listen to another phenomenal story of resilience, vulnerability, authenticity, and ultimately growth, hope, and success. Guys, I am super excited for my guest today. She is an absolute rock star. Seriously, in just a few minutes that I've been talking to her pre-recording, she seems like such a down-to-earth, honest person, and I am really excited for our conversation. Now, guys, before I get into that conversation, I have my two big asks of you. The first is to join the Wellness Center tribe. If you are not already a part of the tribe, please make sure to, if you're on YouTube, to hit the subscribe button. If you're on a podcasting platform, to listen to the follow and download button. Doing so would mean the world to me. It means the world to my guests, and it's ultimately going to help destigmatize mental health. So yeah, please make sure to join the Wellness Center tribe. My second big ask of you guys is, as you're listening to this episode today, I invite you to share this episode with at least one person that you know is going to benefit from the lessons taught by my guest today. Guys, so again, that's just my big one. Like and subscribe, and please share the show. Now, guys, I'm doing really good. Right now, we're about a week out before Thanksgiving, before filming this, and this will come out after Thanksgiving. So for those listening, I hope you guys had a great Thanksgiving. I hope you got some good deals on Black Friday sales, and now you guys are just getting ready for the Christmas spirit, because you're probably going to see this episode mid-December, if not close to Christmas. So I hope everyone's having a great holiday season. I hope everyone is enjoying the cold weather and finding the best out of all of it. I'm doing good. By the time this episode comes out, I'm most likely going to have my third child. So I'm terrified, but it's going to be a great time. My guest has just dropped her jaw. So we'll have to talk about that for a minute as well. But guys,
Oh my
so
gosh.
without further ado, I want to bring on my guest. She is an amazing person. So by way of epic introduction, guys, she is a renowned body mind coach and speaker, empowering leaders through the art of embodied communication. She is the founder of Athletic Touch Therapeutic Massage and Coaching, with over 50,000 hours of experience helping CEOs, athletes, and young adults thrive. She's an expert in fostering integrity, inclusion, and confidence to inspire company cultures and enhance team performance. She delivers dynamic workshops revealing how understanding the body language unlocks peak potential and success. And she's based in Albuquerque, New Mexico, where she offers transformative guidance to organizations worldwide. So without further ado, we have the one, the only, the expert, Ruth Cummings, on the show. Ruth, how are you doing today?
Oh, I'm doing great. How are you, Chase?
Good, Ruth. I am doing so good. Thank you so much for taking time to come on my show.
I'm so excited to be here. I'm excited to hear about your third kid. This is epic. My gosh. I only have two kids, so
Oh,
good luck.
thank you. I'm terrified. I really, so yeah, no, my wife and I, we had two kids pretty early on, right? I was 22 and 25 when we had those kids. And we just kind of like around 25 because we're the same age. When we both turned 25, both my wife and I realized that we're like, well, we have some recovery work that needs to happen, right? We need to do some mental health stuff. So we took about a 4-year sabbatical from having kids. And about 9 months ago, we were like, it's time for another. So yeah, we're about 2-3 weeks out, and a little girl, we're gonna name her Cedar. We're very excited. I'm a little frustrated though, because it's me, and I've got a son, and then my wife and my daughter. So I'm outnumbered now. There's more women in the house, but that's okay. That's okay. There's always chance for another. But no, and you know what? I get two kids too. Two is a lot.
Yeah. Oh, two is a lot. I like it because there's one each. And
Oh, perfect.
so yeah.
Yeah, you're getting the best of both worlds. You're already set.
Yeah. I have a daughter and a son too. So
Oh,
but
awesome.
mine are 22 and 19. So
Oh, gotcha. So they're
don't
grown up.
blink. Yeah. Don't blink.
They always say that time goes by so fast when you have kids. especially
Yeah.
like early on, and you're like, no, well, this is dragging on forever. But before you know it, kids are off in school. There's not diapers
Yeah.
anymore. They don't want to cuddle with you. And then, yeah, they're 19 and 22.
Yeah. Yeah. Believe me, don't blink. Take as many pictures and video as you can. And what else can I tell you? Like it's yeah, the more time you put in now, the more time they'll put in with you later. I think that is true. I'm finding it now too. So it paid off.
See, guys, we're not even 2 minutes in the show, and Ruth is already dropping amazing truths and sharing great skills with you. No, so Ruth, would you be willing to share just like a little bit more about who you are and what you like to do, so kind of we can get to know you on like a surface level a little bit better?
Oh, sure. Yeah, like oh, uh I love kids. I've been working with teens since before I was a teen. So, and then my house is a place where a lot of teens can come. We have I coach soccer, or I'm not coaching soccer right now, but I have 3 championships under for girls high school soccer in this state. That was a while back, and then I also coached tennis, and we took state in tennis as well. And I don't even play tennis.
Oh,
What I'm really proud of that is that none of those teams had injuries. And why is that? Because I'm an expert at dynamic warm-ups. If anybody out there is a teen coach, really understand dynamic warm-ups, because
mhm.
if you teach your kids how to do that, they won't get injured as much. Yeah, I'm a drummer.
Okay.
I do retreats out of my house. I teach dance to, this is so funny. I do the waltz, two-step, and swing to kids in middle school, because I
Okay.
think that's hilarious because they won't touch each other. You know, it's a funny time.
I would love to
I
watch a bunch of fifth graders try and waltz.
yeah,
That'd
you know,
be
they
fun.
won't touch, and like 9 months later, they won't. You can't get them apart. You know, but it's at that time. You okay? You can touch the person's hand, and so oh, I do a lot of things. I have ADHD, and so drumming really helped me. I'm going to tell this story for you in a little bit, but
Yeah.
these there's a lot in my life that's just amazing. I'm very thankful every day. I have some really incredible gifts that were given to me, and I've been trying to use those since I was little. My husband used to tell me, God came and touched you on the shoulder and gave you some things that he thought you were good at, and you've
Mhm.
been doing it ever since, and you get paid for it. So yeah, I'm really
Awesome.
lucky to be one of those people that took my purpose and started it young and made a career out of it. And here I am.
That's truly
Yeah,
incredible and not common either, which
no.
no, which I think actually it segues perfectly into my first question, right? That you've had these gifts since you were young. So, Ruth, I would love for you to take us back to a young Ruth Cummings. When did you start struggling with your mental health?
Well, my dad was he was a fighter pilot in the Air Force. So
Okay.
my brother and we moved 10 times before we were 10. So
Wow.
if you put yourself in that time period, Americans weren't really liked either overseas. And so I was born in Germany, and then we went to Japan, and then we went back to Germany, and all a couple places, and then back to Germany, and then to the United States.
Mhm.
So my mental health was I'm an introvert, but I taught myself how to be an extrovert.
Mhm.
My brother is very introverted, and I had to introduce him and get him going with things. And it was hard on me as a little kid because uh, it's hard as with your older sibling to have to support them like that.
Yeah.
And yeah, and also, you know, I was in Germany. I was playing soccer
Mhm.
at 7, and they didn't let females play soccer.
Interesting.
So
Okay.
I would practice, and I was very fast. I was very good at soccer.
Mhm.
And then the game would start, you know, the prize for all the practice that you do, and they wouldn't let me play because I was a girl.
What?
And that really I think it started a fire under me of, you know, you tell me not to do something and see what happens.
Yeah.
So I, you know, after that, I did play soccer. I got paid to play soccer. I got paid to coach. You know, but it all started from, it was so unfair. So that's
Mhm.
why for me, I really fight for anybody who I think is in an unfair situation. And
Yeah.
I think that's where that showed up. But it
Yeah, what a
also
beautiful
started a lot
gift.
of, yeah, it started a lot of doubt in myself. I
Yeah,
think
okay.
the imposter syndrome, like, really took hold. And
Yeah.
unfortunately, it was like because I wasn't a guy, I wasn't a boy, and I
Hmm.
couldn't do what they could do. And I'm like, yes, I can. So
Hmm.
I also became a drummer right after that.
Okay. And what kind of music do you like to drum to?
I like everything. I was just telling a friend last night. I was in a symphony orchestra my senior year in high school, and we played Stravinsky's Firebird,
Hmm.
and that's my favorite. That was amazing. We had like 300 people, and we just nailed it. And it was when you're in a big music group like that, and you nail music, there's nothing like it. It's such a high. It was so cool.
That is super
But
cool.
yeah, I like doing hand drums. I have a lot of congas. I have
Okay.
um, yeah, I like all kinds of drumming. What I do right now too is I do drum circles for CEOs and for groups, because
Yes.
what I'll start to tell you is, like, for me, rhythm helped my ADHD. And
Hmm.
so I like to show people how rhythm or lack of rhythm in their body can create awesomeness or dis-ease. And I really ran with that for my whole life. Rhythm is a big deal for me.
Yeah, I can imagine. And so if with that in mind, like looking back at how you had to hop around so much in like as a military child, I'm curious about like why, because I'm not military child, why the military will move like a fighter pilot so much. And I'm curious about what type of rhythms you had to find within the lack of rhythm within moving.
Good question. So my dad had retired as a fighter pilot by the time I was in the picture, like 2 years later. So
Okay.
he was in NATO. So in
Mm,
NATO, they just move people around to where they're needed. And
hmm.
I have no idea. I'm making that up because
Hmm.
I'm just a kid. I'm just doing what I'm told.
Right.
And it was so hard because, for example, in Germany, they're very stoic, and we didn't live on base. So my
Hmm.
dad wanted us to have an experience of Europe. We went to the German schools, for example. My
Hmm.
first language was German.
Gotcha.
And it was it was hard because the Germans were, at least where I was, the Germans I was around, I'm sure not all of them are like this, but the Germans I was around
Hmm.
were a little bit angry with Americans because they would come through the cities with tanks and tear up their buildings. And I saw it happen. It was traumatic.
Yeah.
So they weren't very nice to us at first. And then
Hmm.
about 2 years in, we're about to leave. I
Hmm.
don't know that, and I make the best of friends with everybody. And I love everybody. I am loved. I'm accepted. I'm part of the group. My brother's part of the group. And my parents are like, boop, see ya. And it
Yeah.
was
I can imagine
rough.
it was really, yeah, really rough, really jarring for you.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Do you feel like so it sounds like there was probably a lot of bullying up before people started to accept you.
I think instead of the word bullying, it was you're just not included. You're not looked at. You're
Mm.
not talked to. You're not treated. You're not treated bad, but you're not included. So there was, yeah, it was hard as a little
Yeah.
kid. I was in second grade, I remember, and I was in fifth grade when I came back. I
Hmm.
didn't want to leave, but that first year, you know how I got into how I people started to like me. I was
Yeah.
good in sports. I was fast.
Hmm.
I won at dodgeball,
Hmm.
and they were like, "Hey," and we started getting along, and they would pick me for their teams,
Hmm.
and that's how that started. So for me,
Yeah.
athleticism has been important.
No, absolutely. And I'm curious too with the soccer stuff you were talking about, because you mentioned that they wouldn't let you play young and then you started getting paid to play and coaching and stuff. Was that all in Germany? Were you one of those? No?
No, no, we moved. I didn't go back to Germany after fifth grade, so that was all
Gotcha.
America.
Okay.
Yeah, that was, so when I got back to America, I was so good at soccer. We
Hmm.
were good. My brother and I were 3 years ahead in math, 3 years ahead in English from another place. So my brother got his PhD in pure math, and like
Wow.
we were so far ahead in a lot of the things, and we were also far ahead in soccer. Like they were just disciplined, and we got here, and we were just, even at that age, it was only fifth grade, and my brother was in seventh or eighth grade. The lack of discipline was apparent, and that was just a few years ago. So
Oh,
that's one
that's
thing that, yeah, I wish that we would look at as a culture.
the discipline and the education. I know our education systems are terrible right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, no, okay, no, perfect. Thank you. Thank you for being open and willing to talk about some of these things. I know it's not always easy, but I really appreciate your willingness to like step in the arena and talk about it.
Yeah.
So, fifth grade happens, you move to America. What was it like trying to adjust to American life when you had been around the country coming back in? You have this discipline, you're ahead in school, right? What was that like for you trying to make friends? I'm sure the imposter syndrome you talked about was just through the roof for a while.
It was really hard.
Yeah.
That was a really hard time in both my brother and my life. I so here's how my math teachers. I was in fifth grade, and my math teachers, even though I was way ahead, they were marking my my work wrong because in Germany there's a tail on the 9,
Hmm.
and they would mark that wrong, and there's a tail across the 7. They marked that wrong. This one teacher, I can't say they. This person was upset with my that I
Your
didn't need
font?
help in math.
Yeah.
Yeah, and so I went 9, and then there was another one, and H has like a swivel. They marked that wrong. um
That seems
I
petty.
was It was so petty. Looking back, it was like, are you kidding me? Like,
Yeah.
it was really hard. They made it very hard on me. And
Yeah.
but the other thing is I had ADHD, which was not diagnosed in those years. They wanted me to take Ritalin. My parents said no. So I
Hmm.
would bounce. I would literally bounce like this. And my hands would go like that before I knew how to drum. So I started drumming when I got to America. And
Okay.
but it was hard. It wasn't hard making friends because I played football and I played soccer with the boys, and I
Hmm.
had mostly guy friends. I still do.
Hmm.
But it was hard. It was hard to, know how to dress. It was hard to, the food was different. I moved to New Mexico from uh, a not so hot culture. So Germany's not that hot. So we came in July to Albuquerque, New Mexico. It was
Oh.
102. And I thought I was going to die. I literally thought I was going to die. My brother and I slept with wet towels because it was so hot for us. We just couldn't
Oh my.
handle the dry heat. You could breathe. And I felt like my lungs
Yeah.
were going to die. And I
Hmm.
just remember that we thought we were literally in hell. The other thing is when you're from a different place and you come to New Mexico, it is brown. Like you're not used to that. There's no, like, where are the trees? And they're like, oh, there's a group of trees, but it's brown, brown. And
Uh-huh.
it's not like a lot of places in the world. The desert is the desert.
Desert
So,
is the desert. Yeah, that's
and here I
I've
am still.
still it's so I grew up in Utah, which is kind of deserty. There's still some green and stuff, but there's a lot of desert. And I've been to like Missouri, Arkansas, some places farther in the East Coast where it is so green. It is ridiculous how green it is. So you're right, there's definitely different and contrasting stuff. No, it's interesting. Okay, so you go through, you grow up, you're in fifth grade, junior high, high school. Was it kind of the same story for you where you did sports, you excelled,
Yes.
right? That kind
So
of
from
okay.
in fifth grade, I was bothering the teacher so much from my bouncing that my parents found a homeopathic physician named Carl Robinson,
Hmm.
and he found a constitutional remedy, they call it, that changed my life. And what it did is it calmed me down. And then I remember the next day the teacher called my parents. They're like, "What happened?" I was able to read what was on the board. I was
Hmm.
sitting still. I was paying attention. They could read my writing. Like, all that changed overnight. And they called my
Wow.
parents and said, "What did you do? What did you?" And they didn't want to hear that it was a homeopathic remedy. And I don't care what it was. I'm just glad it worked. I still work with Carl Robinson now, and
That's cool.
he's a very important person in my life. But after that, I succeeded. I excelled in drumming.
Hmm.
Um, I played all throughout high school, college. I still play now. And in soccer, um, I did great. We took state twice as I was a player. I played 11, no, no, 10 positions my sophomore year at that championship game, I played every position but goalie.
Wow.
Well, I was the person that would go around and play, my coach, um, she trusted me in all the positions. And so,
Yeah.
um,
So being someone also with ADHD, there's a level of
yes,
adaptability that ADHD people can conform to what they need, right? I think it's a blessing and a survival tactic. Um,
yes.
and it sounds like just even from your upbringing, that was something that you kind of sharpened and fine-tuned too, just that
Yeah.
ability to adapt.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
There was no, yeah, there was no alternative. I guess there were alternatives. The alternatives are like, you stay in bed all day and just be depressed, right? So that
Right.
wasn't for me.
Yeah.
So I did adapt. I learned how to adapt, and I taught my brother and how to adapt better, and we did good. I'm really happy that we did that. It was
Yeah.
hard,
Yeah.
but I saw Paris and we saw Switzerland. And we saw my dad took us a lot of places every weekend,
Hmm.
and that was pretty cool.
Yeah, I bet. I bet that was a unique experience that not a lot of kids your age had had. So I'm
Yes.
curious. Okay, so high school championship soccer player, you graduate high school, then what?
Then I went to my goal was to go to UCSB
Hmm.
and play soccer there.
Okay.
And I'll have to back up. So my brother was a straight A student, he went to Stanford. He's a professional athlete. He
Hmm.
is a concert pianist. Okay. So all these things were really good.
Hmm.
And one year, I think it was my sophomore or junior year, I decided that I was tired of that and I wasn't going to be like him. And so I decided to fail all my classes.
Okay. All
My
right.
poor parents, it was so funny. Like you give someone else the poison. Wait, no, you give yourself the poison and you're expecting it hurts someone else. Yeah, no, I was just giving it to myself. And unfortunately, my grades weren't high enough to go play at these soccer places where my soccer skills were high enough. My grades weren't. So that was kind of funny.
Mhm.
I mean, funny in a bad way, but I wouldn't recommend that. My parents were beside themselves. I got two A pluses and two Fs. That's how it ended. So I had a C average.
There we go.
That was excellent. So I went to Santa Barbara, but I had to go to the community college until I brought my grades up so I could play soccer.
Gotcha.
And I was working 4 jobs. And then my high school soccer coach called me and said, "Hey, could you come be my assistant?" And
Mhm.
I was like, "Yeah, actually, this isn't my favorite place to live, and I'm going to come home." So I came home, and then I actually went to UNM and graduated from there. And I played soccer, and I played in the bands there. And they didn't have an NCAA soccer team. We had to create that. So my team was the one. All the players that I knew in high school, we came together and we had to do it on our own. And it
Mhm.
created the NCAA status so that they could create a D1 soccer team for UNM. So the year
Gotcha.
I left, the next year they had a team.
That's
So we
cool.
had to, yeah, it was cool. I'm glad that we did that. It was a lot of work. We had to do
Yeah.
good. I think we had to have to be first or second. I can't remember what all the rules were, but
Hmm.
and then after that, I was going to go into physical therapy school, and I didn't like the opioids they were using. So someone would
Yeah.
come in with a simple calf pain. I tell the story often when I do my speaking gigs.
Hmm.
I was a candy striper because that's part of you have to be a candy striper to get into their school.
Uh-huh.
And you go and you volunteer in the physical therapy. So you clean all the equipment, but you're not supposed to talk. You can observe, but you
Hmm.
can't, be involved. And somebody came in with a simple calf injury. I could see him limping. And instead of touching his calf, instead of looking at it, instead of telling him how to stretch it and what to do, they just handed him a prescription for oxycodone and a printed out pictures of how to stretch. And they handed that to him and they tapped him on the shoulder and I said, "Wait." And I was like, "This is how you stretch it. Just massage it like this." And I don't remember exactly all that happened, but that was the end of my time as a candy striper and the end of my time for physical therapy. And so I ended up getting my degree in psychology, English, and almost percussion. I was 3 credits short in,
Oh,
of course,
wow.
music theory.
Hmm.
I hate music theory. And I went right to massage school. I had, I forget why, there was one in Albuquerque, so I went to it, and that was amazing. I never looked back. The thing
That's a,
about massage school, though, is that I didn't want to do the energy work,
mhm.
and I was very disrespectful. I think I was whatever, 23 or something. So I
Okay.
said to the guy that's teaching what I do now, and I was like, I think this is actually what I said to him. I'm so embarrassed. I don't really need what you're teaching, so I'm going to sleep underneath the table because this is, not really what I need. And so, thank you for being here, and and I'll see you at the next class or something like that. I mean, oh my God, it's really bad. And then about 6 months after I graduated, I went and begged him to take the class because I needed it so much. So yeah,
That's
it's
all.
pretty fun.
What an awesome human experience. That's awesome. Okay, so I'm curious to kind of go into my next question here, which is the heroine's journey. And for those listening up to this point, right, thank you for tuning in. We really appreciate it. The heroine's journey is essentially an extreme moment, a pivotal trial, something in Ruth's life that called her to be better. So, right, we've in the episode so far, we've seen her just really excel at life, really take life by the handles and really know what she wants to do and goes into it. I'm curious, when was this heroine's moment for you, this heroine's journey that you were called to?
So I think that what happened for me is I went to this class called the Landmark Forum,
Mhm.
and I kept going on that to become a leader in the Landmark Forum, which takes 7 years, and I only made it through a year,
Mhm.
and it kicked my backside. During that time, I learned to be coached, and
Mhm.
I was doing my massage business. I had my little 12 by 12 office,
Mhm.
and I was living from massage to massage. I think we were charging $35 per massage in those years,
Mhm.
and I was barely making it. And I was frustrated with that. When I went
Mhm.
to the Landmark Forum and I started being coached, I heard that people were hiring coaches. And I'm like, what does that mean? And so that led me to hire a coach. And she kicked my tail. And integrity training, uh, really doing what you say you're going to do,
Mhm.
walking the walk and not just talking the talk, and not complaining for complaining's sake. And holy guacamole, I went from maybe 10 clients a week to 40 in 28 days to 60 in the next 28 days. I had to hire people in the next week. Within 1 year, I had to get, I was in maybe 700 square feet, maybe less than that, into 3,000 square feet, hired 15 therapists, and it just kept going. So I think it was, for me, it was the realization that I needed a mentor. I really didn't know how to get to the next level.
Mhm.
And when I took the chance, I spent more money. I spent almost everything that was in my bank account to hire her, but I
Mhm.
had, I don't, more than quadrupled it within a few months, and it was really worth it. So for me,
Yeah.
just recognizing that I didn't know it all, and that I didn't know what to do next, and that to trust someone else to grab my hand, slap me
Yeah.
around, and say, "Do this." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah. Well, I
I think
mean,
that's what I would say.
yeah, we'll talk about humility, right? Because it takes a lot of humility to accept you don't know what you don't know, and extreme ownership to hire somebody and integrity to do that kind of stuff. So, and thank you for answering that really quickly. I think it's really cool. You're like it's so interesting for me to hear the hero's journey or the heroine's journey in each one of our people because it's so different for every person, right? Some people go through like an insane life crisis. Some people just have these realizations that they need to be better, right? That they have these moments kind of like yours. It's so cool. So I'm really curious about some of the early skills, right? This is our third question, right? Some of the early skills that you developed in that coaching, the things that you had to learn to become better, and how have they evolved over time?
Listening would be the number one thing, I think, to really be an active listener instead of acting like I'm listening. Um,
Which is struggles for ADHD people. That is a big
yes,
struggle.
Yes. I mean, I would, I can do the nod and I can do that, but I wasn't really listening.
Hmm.
And when I started listening to my massage clients, it was like, oh, um, it changed everything. Like then I actually started to really help them, and then they started referring people, and it just exploded. Another thing that I learned, I learned that I was using my drumming in my sessions, and I still do today as a coach. That I recognize that I was using what the skills that I have, that I
Hmm.
already have, to be the best person I can be. And my first coach, her name was Elvita, and she pointed that out to me. Like, you're I think that's a coach's job, like, to point out the things that you don't see about yourself.
Hmm.
So I think to really look and resolve imposter syndrome, like to be really step into my power,
Hmm.
and to be happy, thankful, and excited about what I had to offer. Um, so I think that's how that. So the other thing so drumming went into massage, and then
Hmm.
massage helped me in coaching. And now what I do is I help leaders understand how their body specific muscles are holding them back from being authentic, from being kind or compassionate. It's very, I don't lead with that because leaders don't want to know, that they're not compassionate or that they're doing much wrong, right? So I say, you can have better communication. You're going to get rid of chronic pain. I'll help you with all these things. And
All the
then what we
things.
really, yeah, all the things. And what we really work on is, if they walk into a room, are they too powerful? What is their body doing to create power? What is it doing to create a space that people can come to or that they cannot? And what does that look like? And how are they approachable? Are they listening? And I can show them in their body, like specific muscles that get tight and don't allow them to be relaxed with people or honest with people. Instead, they're acting in fear or in scarcity. And
Yeah.
it's really cool to see that. But I do that with professional athletes too. I started with them, with the
Hmm.
massage. That's what I mean. Massage brought me along
Hmm.
to, actually, one of my clients just won the UFC championship, John Jones. He's in Albuquerque. And I worked with him for many years. And he's amazing like that. Just like Tiger Woods, like John Jones, they can tangibly change their behavior in a moment's notice, in a second, millisecond. So
Hmm.
instead of going this way, they're going to go down. Or Tiger Woods, he doesn't see the sides, he sees his goal. Same thing with John. And a CEO or any of us can recognize what you're doing to divert into something that doesn't work for you. And
Hmm.
so I like showing people exactly what muscle does that. And it's different on every person. And it's fascinating.
You
It's
know,
really
it's
fun.
yeah, it is really interesting. It kind of reminds me of this book, The Body Keeps the Score.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, so I'm curious, what are some of the common muscles that you see in a lot of, like, so let's say instead of like the big CEOs, the John Jones, the Tiger Woods of the world, let's talk about the Ruths and the Chases and the other people. What are some of the common areas where people are holding tension?
So specific muscles would be one of the main muscles is the levator scapula. So the
Okay.
levator scapula, it goes to the top of the shoulder blade,
Hmm.
and it pulls it up or not. So this muscle goes into your neck, exactly.
Yeah.
So it goes into your neck and it goes like this, right? When it gets tight, so it pulls that up. And
Hmm.
so you'll see people like live like this. And I'm like,
Hmm.
hey, why don't you relax? And they're like, I am relaxed. And so that area of the body for us, it holds overwhelm, not
Okay.
feeling appreciated, and resentment. When you take on
Interesting.
things that are not your responsibility,
Hmm.
this starts to get sore. So people with really broad shoulders, we give them a lot. We go to them for help. We look for people with broad shoulders to talk to because they can handle it. But
Hmm.
what starts to happen is they only help. There's a lack of balance between helping and receiving help. So we go to them to talk, but they
Hmm.
don't have anybody to talk to. So
Gotcha.
that's a main muscle. Also for guys and people in like us, right here, your masseter. Yeah, the masseter, the jaw. So
Okay.
all the muscles in the face and jaw. A lot of us clamp our teeth, or often when I'm doing Zoom calls,
Hmm.
I look at the jaw at how I can tell a lot from the jaw on what they're worried about, what they're angry about. And so I watch that a lot.
Okay.
And then the other one is right here,
Uh-huh.
right under the clavicle, right under
Uh-huh.
your, uh, what's the layman's term? That bone right here, I forget, but so under the clavicle,
Hmm.
this holds grief, courage, and betrayal. And
Interesting.
betrayal is between the shoulder blades, but it
Uh-huh.
comes straight through like a knife. And I can find
Mhm.
stuff. So if I'm touching someone right here, I'm like, oh, I know to go to this muscle on your hip or your foot, or over
Okay.
here, I know where to go. And it creates a line. I see geometry in the body and I follow those lines.
That's really interesting. Um,
It's really fun.
yeah, thank you. So I'm curious. I kind of want to see if you'd be willing to do this. What does Chase's jaw say about Chase in the
Yeah.
Zoom
So
meeting?
just put your right hand up just to make sure. Okay. So your left jaw is way, way tighter and way bigger. So you're either putting your jaw to the left so you're probably, when you're stressed, you're moving or just using that side.
Hmm.
So it shows me that you're not speaking when you need to say something. Your throat is also a little bit tight. I can see
Yes.
that both of your shoulders are tight right at the back. So
Uh-huh.
that shows more it shows more lack of appreciation and feeling resentment about that, more than it does that you have more work from other people. If you had more appreciation and if you could speak it, your
Mhm.
jaw would calm down. So
Interesting.
you're not talking about things that can really move the dial for you. So
Okay.
that's what
Yeah.
I would say. Yeah.
No, that definitely rings true. I appreciate that. There's definitely some things that I felt frustration over, and I feel like there's a lack of ability to communicate them at times. So it makes sense. And yeah, you're right. I do put a lot of tension on this side. Um, no, I appreciate
Yeah.
that. Thank you. That's really cool.
Sure.
So I'm curious about the active listening, right? Because I know you're talking about that, learning how to do that. What are some skills that people can use, right? Like if they were to pause the episode and be done today, what can they do to practice active listening?
I think the first thing to do is to take a deep breath before someone is about to say something you know is important.
Hmm.
Because if you're holding your breath, which most of us do in that point, then you're not going to hear as clearly.
Mm.
Your body's going to kind of be in a mode to respond instead of a mode to listen. So if you take a deep breath and get prepared,
Hmm.
another thing you could do. This is something people probably don't think about.
Hmm.
I'm all about the body, right? So you want to open your chest. So if you know you're going into, a conversation with your spouse, or you're about to fire somebody or something really intense, do a cat and cow stretch and walk in with really good body mechanics and body language where it's open. So you're not, these are simple, but you don't put your shoulder, you don't put your arms across. We know that as a culture, but a lot of
Right.
us, if you do that, eh, eh,
It's
that's not
defensive.
going to create the listening. So I would open up your chest and I would smile, just a small smile. I do a talk on smiling. Now
Okay.
the smile, you don't want to be sarcastic, but you want
Hmm.
to be like a welcoming smile. So if you practice that in the mirror, like what is your welcoming smile that just shows the person that if depending, like I love them, or
Hmm.
I really respect them. You have this nice opening look on your face, so they don't feel that helps them feel calm and included and loved, and that will really help. So open chest, take a breath, smile. That's quick, and also have both of your feet on the ground. You can ground yourself that way. Don't think
Guys,
about that. Just know both feet on the ground
both feet on the ground, smile a little bit, do some cat and cows, and breathe.
and
I
breathe.
love it. I absolutely love that. That's so cool. Man, what amazing skills that you've left us with. Thank you so much. Now, so my next question for you, and it's my next big one. Looking back at your entire life journey, right? All of the moves you had to do, feeling the imposter syndrome, coming to America, having these teachers being so petty, and all of these struggles that you went through in life, right? The successes as well. What can you appreciate about the journey that you've experienced up to this point in your life?
Meeting as many people as I have,
Hmm.
uh, I mean, I have met some incredible people, and um, I just love them. And you know what the lesson is that, and I've always acted like this, but I have gained evidence is that everybody has something amazing to give. And even I've worked on murderers, I've worked on rapists, I've worked on a lot of different people. And
Mhm.
even in that category, and with all the rest of us, we have amazing skills. And I love to showcase that and to bring it out in people. So I think
Yeah.
that's one of the things that I was gifted in this life so far.
Yeah. What a beautiful perspective. That's amazing. Okay. My last big question for you, Ruth, um, is for those people just getting into the realm of mental health, those people just having the thought of, oh crap, I need help. Something needs to change. What advice do you have for those people specifically?
Don't give up hope. Find somebody. Don't stay alone. I work with teens who have thought about um, not staying here, and hope is the number one thing. Get outside, um, get in the sunlight, move your body even when you don't want to. Cry, you know. And I think that don't be afraid that I think everybody has mental health issues and we don't talk about it enough, and that it's not a stigma. I mean, it is a stigma, but let's make it not a stigma. So like, um, there's more people suffering with the same thing you feel than you think. And just keep telling, I would tell people I need support.
Mhm.
That's hard to do, but find someone like my house. A lot of teens come here and let me know. And if you find someone that's really willing to just listen and hear you, just keep looking. They're around. And you know what? In my opinion, God and angels will bring those people to you. You just have to, you don't know where you're going to see them. It could be in a grocery store, could be in line somewhere. You just don't know. Be open to the possibility of someone trying to help you.
Yeah, God works through people way more than we see it sometimes, which is so true. And I love that advice. Hope is so important. And shame resiliency and being willing to talk about it. In my own personal experience, I struggled with suicidal ideation. I did from the time that I was 10, right? I stopped struggling with it about 2 years ago. It was about 15, no, 16 years I struggled with suicidal ideation. And to be able to talk to, like, to actually open up to people and be like, hey, I'm feeling suicidal right now. I have ideology running through my head. And to have someone say, and which is so scary to say that to someone, right? Because there's the chance they're going to go into fight or flight, these people, and, lose their minds to try and save you because they care. But it's the most validating feeling in the world when someone can just say, hey, me too, right? I've had those feelings and thoughts. I totally get what you're going through. Let's talk about it. Right? This is safe space, right? There's something so powerful about that. So having that community, like what you're saying, Ruth, is so important. So
Yeah.
important in my opinion.
I think there's way more people around than, yeah, and it is important. And I think that just it takes the courage to ask her to say it, right? But those you can tell, in my opinion, if you watch their body language towards you, if they're able to listen to you out of a crowd of people you don't know,
Hmm.
not only a person that can say, hey, I've had those thoughts, but also says, well, tell me about it. And, you know,
Yeah,
let's
what's
let's
going
talk
on?
about it.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
like I'm here for you, and I don't even know you, but I'm here for you. I love that
Yeah.
because humans love humans.
Yeah. They really do. I've come to believe that most people are genuinely great people.
Yes, I do too.
99.9% of the entire population are just people who are doing their best and they genuinely care.
Yes,
Yeah,
I
so
agree.
yeah, this world's so much better than the news makes us out to be.
I agree.
Um,
Totally agree. Yes.
so Ruth, thank you so much for answering my big five questions and coming on the show and leaving us with hope and excitement and skills. It's been a real pleasure. So for those people looking at this point, they're like, man, I want to hire Ruth. Man, I need to get involved in what she's doing. Where can people find you?
I'm on Instagram at Ruth Cummings Coaching. That's probably the best place. I'm also on
Mhm.
TikTok, and um, I have a podcast called Your Body Advocate, and
Okay.
we didn't talk about that, but I haven't run that for the last year because of the passing of my husband.
Mm.
But I'm about to start that again. And I'm going to give my number out because I don't mind.
Okay.
You can always text me. Don't call me, please, but you can text me. And my phone number is 505,
Mhm.
that's in New Mexico, 505-550-6989. So, and if you need something, call me or text me.
Yeah, I'm really sorry to hear about the passing of your husband. 1 year
Thank you.
that's fresh.
It's very fresh, very raw. That's why
Yeah.
I usually can't talk about it yet.
No, you're good, and definitely not something we have to. I had a sister complete suicide when I was 18, and she was 16
Wow,
at the
I'm
time.
sorry.
So I remember that first year of loss, and everything sucks. So good for
Yeah,
you for getting on here and sharing your stuff. I know how much that takes, and it's truly powerful. So
thank you
guys,
for
but
noticing, Chase.
yeah, of course. And guys, by way of Ruth being able to get on her with her phone number, her Instagram, some of the other links that she sent me, like her website, her Facebook, her Pinterest, her Twitter account, her YouTube account, right? All of those things are going to be down in the description. So please make sure to go and share your love and your support with Ruth. If you guys are looking for a life coach, obviously, if she's coaching John Jones, then she is a really, really good coach. So I love UFC. So when you said John Jones, I kind of fangirled for a half a second.
Oh yeah, John's great. I massage him. I don't coach him. So
Oh,
just to
okay.
clarify that, yeah.
No, you're all good, but
But it was
still,
still really fun. He's a great guy. He was really fun.
fangirl here.
Yeah.
That's awesome. But yeah, guys, all of her stuff is going to be in the description. Please make sure to go and check her out. Ruth, just one last time, thank you so much for taking your time.
Yeah.
It has meant the world to me.
Thanks for for doing this. It's great. I think people need it. So thank you for doing what you're doing. And I'm happy to be here.
Yeah, it's been a lot of fun. And guys, and to all of you who have tuned in up to this point, thank you so much. Truly and sincerely, thank you for tuning in and listening to the show. It is an honor, it is a blessing, and it means the world to me that you guys are tuning in and listening to the stories that I get the opportunity to share. It means the world to me. It means the world to my guests. Guys, if you haven't already, please, again, make sure to join the Wellness Center tribe. You can do that by hitting the subscribe button, the like and follow button. And if you haven't shared the episode yet, that's okay. This is the perfect opportunity to do it now. Obviously, we have talked about suicide. We've talked about active listening. We've talked about so many amazing things. There's someone in your life that I know could benefit from this. So please, I invite you to share it with that person. Guys, I also want you to know that I'm always looking for guests on the show. No story's too big, no name is too small, right? If you have a story, I want to share it all. Please reach out to me. You can get a hold of me at chase@thewellnesscenter.life. That's my email. Chase, like the bank, at thewellnesscenter.life. If you want to know more about what I'm doing on my day-to-day basis, you can go to www.thewellnesscenter.life, where we use full body red light therapy to recalibrate every single cell in your body, one session at a time. Guys, thank you so much for tuning in. We both hope you have a great rest of your day, and we'll see you on the flip side. Peace out.
In the dark, I found my light so true. Every scar became a story I knew.